All right, I'm going to start at the top of the first official paragraph. Lou, you're going to take 200, Coach said, and the 100. Lou held back a smile and nodded. Coach got me. I thought he was going to let me run, but I guess this was the real last part of my punishment. I tried not to act disappointed. I looked over at my family, King and Aunt Sophie holding the sign, waiting to lift it into the air and scream like maniacs, and Ma standing there so proud of me. And Ghost, Coach said, glancing over at Coach Witt, then back at me. I snapped out of my trance. You think you can handle the 100 too? I grinned, and I couldn't get yes out of my mouth. Such a short, easy word, but I couldn't spit it out. So I just nodded and swallowed the yes, hoping it might go down my throat, through my stomach guts, and down into my legs. We're not going to run the relays or hurdles yet, Coach said. This is the first meet, and we've got some work to do. But I'm watching every one of you, so let's get out there and burn. And we all went to the side of the track and waited for our races. Everyone was so hyped, jumping around, trying to stay loose. Lou's mother came over and gave us a container full of orange slices, which I thought was super nice, but I didn't want any oranges. And I met Coach's wife, Mrs. Margot, and his baby son, Tyrone. The crazy thing was, even though Coach was an Otis and had chipped-toothed turtle face, Mrs. Margot was pretty and so nice. She passed out Gatorades to everybody, but when she got to me, she thanked me for cleaning out Coach's cab. That made me feel real special, but I didn't really want no oranges or no Gatorade. I had my power pills, my sunflower seeds. I ran over to my mother, who had them tucked in her purse. She handed me the bag, then grabbed me and hugged me again. I'm so proud of you, she said. Then she caught me slipping and added, Ghost. She must have heard Sonny say it, or somebody, but she now knew my nickname, the name I gave myself. And judging from the bright smile, I think she liked it. I had no idea that being on a team would make her so lovey-dovey, but it was cool. It reminded me of how it used to be, back when we slept in our beds and there was family pictures on the wall. Back with the rest of the defenders, I ate the sunflower seeds, one by one, waiting for my race. My chance. The first race was a relay. The boys 4x800. Hold on. Sorry about that. I got to just sit and watch to see how races really went down, since we weren't running relays. Runners from 8 different teams all lined up in their lines, staggering at different starting points. The Bruisers, the Wings, and a bunch of other silly names that were nowhere near as dope as the Defenders. Everybody put one foot forward, just barely touching the line. Then leaning in, some wiggling their fingers. Then, and this caught me totally off guard, there's a gunshot, which is the thing that tells you to go. I'll tell you one thing, it made me feel a little weird. But whoever invented track got the whole gun means go thing right. The crowd started screaming as the boys burned the track up. One of the teams, I think they were called the Assassins, dropped the baton. It made a clinking sound, which is, in a nutshell, is what losing sounded like. It's hard to come back from that. After the boys were the girls, Patty came over to me and told me how she felt like she could pretty much smoke all the girls out there. I believed her. Patty was definitely going to be a problem. Next was the boys' 100-meter hurdles, which was the most exciting thing I'd ever seen. It was crazy. I asked Coach if we were ever going to run hurdles, and he told me that we would. But that it takes some real work. He said the kids who left the team and went to high school, the kids whose spots we filled, were amazing hurdlers. Then he said he used to run hurdles while tapping his hand on his chest, his secret tattooed Olympic medal. I told him I wanted to do it, and he told me to focus on today. Then came the girls' hurdles, which the crowd seemed to be into even more than the boys. Patty was jumping up and down, screaming, because one of her friends was running. The girl didn't win first, but she did come in second, which wasn't bad. And then came the 100-meter dash. Lou, Ghost, Coach called out. Y'all ready? Me and Lou nodded, and Coach said what he always said, this time with a return nod. On the line. We stepped out on the track and walked down to the end. Lou's mom instantly started screaming and waving those stupid pom-poms. No clue what she was saying, but whatever it was loud. Until Aunt Sophie. Castle! Aunt Sophie screamed. "Smoke 'em, burn 'em, dust 'em, roast 'em," she shrieked. It was like her and Lou's mom were a perfect, out-of-control cheerleading pair. I looked over, and King was holding the sign above his head. It said, "Castle Cranshaw ain't no joke. You are." Nice. All the runners from all different teams were slapping hands when I saw him. No way. No freaking way. He ran? He ran? By now you know who I'm talking about. Brandon Simmons. He was standing in lane 8, running for a team that called themselves the Bolts. He saw me the same time I saw him, and he looked just as shocked as I was. "You run?" I asked, coming toward him. Brandon was a runner? He was tall enough to play ball, so I always assumed that's what he did. Then again, I should have known better because he had those slimy hands. Can't hold no ball with those butterfingers. "You run?" he responded, wiping his hands ironically on his shorts. Then he smirked and shot breath out of his nose like he couldn't believe it, like I was some kind of joke, like he ain't seen the sign King was holding up. "Yeah," Lou said from behind me. He put his hand on my shoulder. "He runs real fast," he said, taunting Brandon. Lou pulled me into him, grabbed me by the back of the neck. "It's me and you," he said, snapping me out of Brandon Simmons' nightmare state and back into focus. Had I known Brandon was a runner, I would have told Dre and Red to come to the meet just so they could see me smoke 'em. Shoot, I might have invited the whole school, even Principal Marshall. Maybe even would have told Shamika to bring that laugh with her for the special occasion. Lou gave me 5, then repeated, "It's me," he pointed to himself, "and you." He put his finger on my chest. I was in lane 6, Lou was in 1. I bent down, untied my silver shoes, then retied them. I looked around at the crowd, a smear of people rooting for their friend or son or brother or teammate. Somebody was probably even there rooting for Brandon. Then I looked over at the side where the defenders were. Coach slapping a proud grin on his face, Sonny cheering, an orange slice in his mouth, the peel like a bright mouthpiece. And Patty, who, by the way, had on shiny lip stuff and had her hair greased and slicked straight back, squatted down and stared, almost like she was mind-beaming speed to me. She nodded. I nodded. My mother, looking at me with wet eyes, she waved, and all I could think about at that moment was the 2 of us running down the hall 3 years ago. "On your mark," said the starter. My heart thumped, and I could feel my insides turning colors. I'm not sure what color. Not red, not blue. Something else. Something different. A color I never felt before. I squatted down, pushed my feet back against the blocks, stretched out my thumbs and index fingers, and placed them on the edge of the white starting line, resting my weight on my arms. Closed my eyes. Thought of us running to the door, running for our lives. "Get set," said the starter, butts in the air, the sound of the gun cocking, the sound of the door unlocking, heart pounding, breathe, breathe, breathe. Silence. This is it. And then, boom. Now that's the end of the story. And if you would have heard the frustration in the class today, you would have laughed. I wonder if you're just as frustrated. Today's assignment for writing is to continue with the story. So, and then boom, you're either going to handwrite it, or you're going to type it, and you're going to submit it to this assignment. I want to see all the different endings to the story. Good luck. Have fun.